Hey everyone, I'm Tierney Larson. I am the food blogger known as My Culinary Fix. If you've heard of me, I'm very famous. Just kidding. I also have a Patreon, and I've been making lots of videos for that, but I figured that I wanted to share my videos with more of the world, so I'm making one for YouTube now. I'm going to make Mallomars from scratch. I'm so excited to show it to you. I've made it a couple times now this winter season, and I love it. It's better than Mallomars, I think. I don't know. It's kind of the same though. It tastes the same. But anyway, I combined 3 recipes. The graham cracker recipe is from King Arthur Baking Company that I just adjusted a little bit. So you can find the adapted recipe on my site, myculinaryfix.com. And then I use a marshmallow recipe that I love that uses agave instead of corn syrup, and that recipe I adapted from Two Sisters, Two Cities, which is a blog that I'm not sure exists anymore, but yeah. And I love it. And the third part is just tempered dark chocolate. So it's really kind of easy-ish. You can, like, I don't know, the marshmallow I've never messed up. I think you can do it if you just keep an eye on the temperature. You definitely need an instant read thermometer for these recipes. I would think would help a lot. With the sugar process, boiling the sugar for the marshmallow, and then also tempering the chocolate. It's much easier to have a thermometer. So yeah, get yourself one. They're not that expensive. Anyways, alright. So I'm going to start by making the graham cracker recipe. So in this bowl I have whole wheat flour, all-purpose, and some sugar. And I'm just going to mix that together. I'm also going to add, and I weighed these ingredients. It's definitely the best way to do it for accuracy. I have a teaspoon of cinnamon I'm putting in. And I'm putting half a teaspoon of salt. I use kosher salt, the Diamond brand, which is not as salty as like Morton's kosher salt. So if you know your salt, you know your salt, okay? So I don't have to tell you. But yeah, get to know your salt. You don't want to use table salt, okay? Don't use table salt ever in my kitchen, ever. Check it. But seriously. Alright, also we're going to add, as you can tell, I'm really weird, so hopefully you enjoy this video. A teaspoon of baking powder. 2. 3. I watch a lot of Blippi with my kids, so I'm counting everything I'm doing, just instinctually. Alright, a teaspoon of baking powder goes in there. And that's it for our dry ingredients. So we just get those nice and incorporated. Alright. And then for our wet ingredients, we're using some oil. And again, the recipe is on my blog, My Culinary Fix. And we need 85 grams of honey, so I'm just going to measure that. And it's best to measure it after you do the oil, so it will come right out. And here we go. Ready? Go. 85 grams. I hope we can make it. Come on, honey bear. Come on. Alright, we're at 58, okay? 65. Okay, almost. Ooh, okay, perfect. Okay, so we put that in there. And yeah, this graham cracker recipe is really great too if you just want to make straight up graham crackers. The only difference I do is I don't leave them in the oven to cool, which makes them crisp. I don't really want them to be crispy for this because they're just going to go under a marshmallow anyway. So I just let them cool outside of the oven, and I also use a little biscuit cutter to make the circles, and I'll show you that when the time comes. Alright, we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of milk, an egg, and I think that's it. I think that's it. Okay. We're going to whisk that together now. And when you're baking, you definitely want to make sure everything is really, really well combined, which is something when I first started baking that I really took for granted, but if you want your stuff to come out really well, like really take the time to whisk it until it's literally one like cohesive thing. Okay? Cohesive thing, the scientific term. Alright, so it's really well incorporated. I just want the egg white to get a little more in there so it doesn't look as broken up. And now we're just going to add it to our dry ingredients. And this is a pretty stiff dough, so you're probably going to be like, what is this? But it's normal, okay? Alright, so we're just stirring this together. And then once this is done, we're going to just wrap it up and let it chill for an hour, and then we'll bake it. I'll show you how to do that. So I'm just stirring it together now, kind of folding it in and making sure all that flour gets absorbed. And if you find that your dough is looking very dry and there's dry patches of flour that aren't incorporating, you can add a little bit more milk. The recipe calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons, so I only added 2 at first. So we'll see if I need a little bit more, which I think I'm okay. I just have to really get it in there. So yeah, how are you today? This is New Year's Day, so it's been pretty fun so far. It's snowing out where I am in Kansas. But I'm not originally from there. I'm from New York, if you couldn't tell. From Long Island specifically, but Long Islanders don't really like to admit they're from Long Island. I don't know, most of the ones I've met anyway. But yeah, from New York. Okay? Alright. So, see how it's nice and like just incorporated now? There's no dry patches of flour. And so I'm just gonna wrap it up in some cling wrap and let it chill in the fridge. Then we're going to roll it out, and for graham crackers you cook them like partially and then you take them out of the oven while they're still in the middle of their baking process, and then you cut them. So I'll show you how to do that with the biscuit cutter. Just going to flatten it out into like a squarish shape. I don't know. Okay, come on now. Alright. And there we go, okay? So yeah, this is good. Gonna put this in the fridge for an hour and now show you what to do next. Okay, hey everyone, we're back. So the graham cracker dough has been chilling in the fridge for not 30 minutes, an hour. And it's firmed up a little bit. Cold. You could let it go longer than an hour if you want, but I'm just going to do an hour. So I'm going to split it in half and work with half of the dough at a time. And you're going to want to roll it out onto the parchment or a silpat, whatever you're using, so that it's easy to transfer to the sheet pan, because you're going to roll it out to about 1/8 of an inch thick. Right? Yeah, 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, okay, sorry, my bad. Alright, so 1/8 of an inch thick. The original recipe is you want to roll it to like a 1/16 of an inch, but for the Mallomars I want it to be a little bit thicker, and it will puff up as it bakes, so it will end up being about 1/4 of an inch when it's baked. So I just sprinkled a tiny bit of flour, and if you find that it's hard to roll on the parchment, I like to just lean on the end of it and just gently roll it out, because it is kind of soft. And just keep flouring your tin and try to make it as even as possible. And just keep getting a little flour on there. And I'm just looking for, again, like 1/8 of an inch thick. And it doesn't really matter if it's perfectly rectangle or anything like that, because you're going to be using the biscuit cutter to cut out the shapes for your Mallomar bottom. So I'm just going to keep turning and rolling, turning and rolling. La la la. And While I'm doing this, my oven is preheated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. You're cooking it on kind of a low temperature, and they're in there for 10 minutes at first, and then you're gonna cut out the shapes, and they go in for further like 18 minutes. And if you were making the regular graham crackers without the Mallomar, you would turn off the oven and let them cool in the oven. But since we don't really want them to be crispy, we're not doing that step. We're just gonna let them cool outside of the oven. Okay, so trick. Your pinky is about 1/4 of an inch thick, and you can measure your own pinky to make sure. But I like to just go to half. Half a pinky is good. And you should get about 24 Mallomar bottoms out of this. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So I'm gonna transfer this to a sheet pan. See, it transfers super easy. And I'm gonna brush it with some milk. And I tried the Mallomars without this cinnamon sugar topping that we're gonna be putting on, and I definitely missed the flavor it adds. You're not gonna think like, oh, this is a cinnamon Mallomar or anything like that. It's just gonna be like a really nice background flavor. And so I just make my own cinnamon sugar. I use 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and then 3 teaspoons of sugar. But you can like make it to taste if you want it more cinnamony or whatever. So that's one is ready to go. Put that to the side, and I'll do the next one. Okay, I can brush this one. And this is just whole milk. And then I'm gonna sprinkle it with the cinnamon sugar. And it's going into the 300 degree oven. I'm going to switch them shelf-wise in the oven halfway through, and also just rotate them the pan like that, okay? And then I'll show you what to do next, okay? So our graham crackers are almost done. I'm going to take them out and pop the circles into them. So like I said before, I'm using a 2-inch biscuit cutter, and I'm just gonna press it in, and it's greased with some cooking spray, and then kind of just use your finger to make it stay down. It starts to come out. Or you could use the back of a spoon or something if you don't like to touch your food or something like that. Alright, and you should get about like 24. Just pop it back in if it kind of comes out. Otherwise you'll have a bent Mallomar bottom. And I don't know if you just heard, but my son is in the background saying something. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So I'm just going to continue doing this. It's super fun. And if you were making regular graham crackers, you would just cut these into squares or whatever. Rectangles, triangles, whatever you kids are doing nowadays. Alright, here's a bunch of little circles. Do the next one. I need to re-grease this a little bit. Boop. Again, you don't have to be crazy about it. It will just snap off. The parts around it will just kind of snap off when it's done cooking. So you can give it a little wiggle or just press it firmly down. Okay. Boop. Get back under. Okay, let me spray this a little more. Okay, I'm almost done. Just try to get them as close together as possible, that way you get the most Mallomars. Okay, that looks good. I think that's all I can get. Alright, so these are going to go back in for 18 minutes or so, until they're just a little bit more golden brown and cooked through, and then I'm going to pop them out and put them on a wire rack to cool, and then I will show you how to do the marshmallows. Okay, I was just outside in the snow, sorry. Alright, so these look golden brown, they feel firm to the touch, they're done, and you can just take them out and let them cool just like this, and then when they're firm, you can just break off the outside pieces and you'll have all your lovely little circles. Sorry about that. You can even put these on racks if you want to cool them faster, or you can just let them cool on here. They might get a little crisp, but they'll be fine, okay? They're the bottoms of a Mallomar, okay? Alright, so I'll be back to show you the marshmallows. Bye! Okay everyone, I'm back and I'm ready to do my marshmallows, okay? I got my graham cracker cookies. They're all cooled on a little tray over here. And just a few little prep things you want to do before you start, before you even turn on the stove, is put your gelatin in your mixing bowl. And you definitely want to use a stand mixer for this because you have to really slowly pour in the really hot sugar. So you don't want to like try to be doing two things like that at once. So yeah, make marshmallows at your own risk, people, okay? Because it's very hot sugar. You're going to get your sugar to 242 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's pretty hot, alright? And you're going to just have to carefully pour it out of your pan into that bowl while it's on very low speed, okay? It will be fine, but you have to just be very careful. Anyway, so prep-wise, you want to have a pastry brush like this with a bowl of water next to your pan so you can get any sugar off the rim of your pan while it's cooking. You want to get everything ready. My gelatin is in my bowl, like I said before, and it's blooming in there with some water. You also want to get that going because you're going to have to add it straight to the gelatin, and it has to be bloomed by then, okay? Also, I have my instant read pen that's going to help me with the sugar, and I'll show you in a second what I have over here, but yeah, I have my cookies and my piping bag all set up, ready to pipe the marshmallow right onto the cookies because it will start to set. Marshmallow will start to set pretty quickly, so you have like, I would say like 3 to 4 minutes before it starts to get like kind of hard to pipe and stuff, so you want to have it all set up. Alright, so I'm putting my pan on medium-high. I'm adding all my sugar in. I weighed it before, and now this is the only time you're going to want to stir this. Let me just get a spatula. I already was not prepared, guys. Alright. Spatulas are always like kind of weird. Okay. This is the only time you want to stir it just to get it moistened. And actually I'm going to turn it off because I didn't really want to do that yet. Alright. It's all moistened. Sugar, and in here is a half a cup of water and a third a cup of agave. Alright, so that's all in there. Now I'm going to put on medium-high. And this is where you're not going to want to stir it anymore. I'm just going to right away notice if I have any like little, if you see any little granules of sugar, that can cause it to start to crystallize, and you don't want that because then you'll have to start over. So you need to brush down the sides, make sure there's no little specks of sugar. There's something in there. What the heck? Okay, sorry about that. Let me get that little spot. Okay. So the sides are very, very clean now. And I'll just keep doing that as I go on. I have used like a little pot for this too, but I noticed that it bubbles up and it almost overflows almost every time I use that pot, and it's a pretty high pot. But it's just, yeah, I like to use this because it will start to bubble up a little bit, but it doesn't get close to the top in this pan. If you want, you can give it little swirls now and then because the heat isn't as evenly distributed as if it was, if it was in a smaller pan. I don't know how to speak English apparently, but anyway. Okay. So yeah, just swirl it now and then very carefully, obviously. It's going to get really hot. And yeah, it's just like a waiting game at this point. It's going to start to get bubbly and stuff like that. That's when you want to start checking it. And for me, it always sits at around like, I think like in the 230 range for a while, and I think like it's never going to come up, and then it just does. So Yeah, okay, so getting some nice bubbling around the sides now. I'll just show you. You can also use a candy thermometer for this, but I find that mine doesn't work. So I like to use my instant read better. Okay, so we're at 97 right now. And yeah, like if I go to the edge of my pan, it's like 140, so that's why I like to swirl it around a little bit so that it's evenly in there. I also sometimes just go like this and kind of stir it with this, but you really don't want to stir it because that can also cause it to like crystallize, and you don't want that. So I noticed the little granules over there, so I'm just going to brush them down. And once you notice that the sugar is like dissolved into the liquid, you don't really have to worry about that as much anymore. But in the beginning, you really want to make sure the sides of your pan are very clean. So yeah, we're just gonna wait and swirl and wait. And this whole thing takes about like, I would say 10 minutes or so. I've never really timed it, but I think it's around 10 minutes. Or maybe less. But you do not want to walk away from this. This is not something that you can come back and check on. You need to stay with this the entire time. Also, don't recommend making this with kids running around. Not going to be a good idea to be walking over with a hot pan of sugar anywhere, okay? So we're at 1. Yeah, it's like jumping all over the place. Hold on. You want to make sure when you get like an instant read pen like this that it comes calibrated. This one, these thermopens come pre-calibrated, so it's great. Hi, there's a child here. Hello. Hi, can you guys go back upstairs?
70% power for my magic robot.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Go with your father. Alright. We're at like 148 now. And I'm seeing just some little specks over there. I'm just going to wipe it down a little bit. My son is just mocking me over there, so. Alright, let's see where we're at. Alright, we're getting up there now. It's starting to bubble up a little bit. If your sugar does start to bubble up like a lot while you're doing this, just turn down the heat a little bit and stand back away from it. But when mine did start to bubble up, I just turned down the heat and like watched it, and it just went back down. So don't be too scared that happens. But if it does, just step the heck back because you do not want to get burnt. And then next time use a different pot. But you should be fine if you're very careful. Alright. So I'm just checking around. So at 220, 222-ish. Give it a little shake-a-do. I don't want to swirl it too much because it's bubbling up and I don't want it to splash out. Okay, 220. If you use like too wide of a pan, it could burn. So you don't want to use anything too wide. And if you use something too like narrow, it will just take a really long time to come together. Alright, so we're at 224-ish. And this is the point where it kind of just stays for a while at this one spot. So I'm just going to keep watching it. I'm going to brush down the sides a little bit just in case. But it should be fine at this point. I'm sure all the sugar is dissolved. And if it does bubble up, I always just brush it down after it bubbles. After the bubbles go down a little bit, and just to make sure that there's nothing left over from that. Okay, we're at 232 now, and this is when it starts to kind of move fast. So I'm just checking around, giving a little very gentle shake and like swirl with this instant read. Because I'm getting some higher readings around the edges, but yeah, we're about 2:30 now. I usually just go on what's in the center for my reading. Alright, I got 242 in the center, so I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to tell my child politely to leave the area. Hello, you need to leave the area. So the bubbles have subsided. I'm going to slowly pour this down the side of my mixer, very slowly, or you could scorch the gelatin that's inside. And my mixer's just on medium-low. So you're going to be here a while. Your arm's going to start to hurt. Sorry, but that's just the price you pay. Alright, and I always have 2 gloves on just in case. You want to be extra careful. You have very, very hot sugar. Okay? So we're just going to slowly add this all in. Okay. Okay, it's all in. Now I'm going to add a pinch of salt, pinch of kosher salt in there, and I'm going to turn it up to medium-high and just let it go. Again, it shouldn't splash out at you, but be careful, because it is still very hot. Okay, so this is on medium-high speed, and we're going to let it go for 3 to 5 minutes until it's doubled and starts to look white. Okay, this has gotten white and double in size now, and you can see it's like starting to leave little trails, the whisk. So I'm going to put it up to high now and let it go for another 3 to 5 minutes until it's even more doubled and white and very glossy. And we will check for a peak, because you want it to hold its shape a little bit when you pipe it onto the graham crackers, okay? Alright, this is white and glossy now, so I'm just going to check and see where it's at. So let's see if it's holding. Yeah, it's still pretty runny, so I'm going to keep it going for a little long. It's been about 4 minutes so far. Put it back up to high and let it keep going. Let's see where it's at. You don't want to miss your window of piping opportunity. It already feels much thicker than it was before. Still a little runny though. Alright, we'll just keep going. And also by the time you start piping it out, it's also going to set a little bit more, but you want to be close. Alright. I'm going to let it go the full 5 minutes and then see where it's at. So this recipe makes more than what you need for your Mallomars. If you double the graham cracker recipe, you could use probably all the marshmallow for that. But I usually just set aside an 8x8 pan, spray it with, line it with parchment, spray it with cleaning spray, and then I put the extra in there, and then I can have marshmallows for hot chocolate or something. Alright, this is looking good. Yeah, look at that. Woo! This is so fun. I love making marshmallow. Alright, so it's still, like, it's not going to be perfectly, like, a stiff peak or anything like that, but it looks like it's getting there. Because you don't want it to, like, fully set or anything like that. Alright. Let it go a little longer. Okay, we're back. Alright, let me put this in here. Alright. More. You want to have like a round tip on the end of your piping bag. You can use one a little bigger than mine, but this is what I have. And yeah, okay, here we go. We're just going to pipe into the middle till it's like spread out to the sides. Get the height that you want and then do a little bloop. They're not all going to be perfect. For me anyway, they're not, but they taste really good. Okay, and you're going for about like I would say like 1.5 inches height in the mellow part. And yeah, mine looks a little bit wonky on the top, but it doesn't matter. It's homemade, okay? That's what makes it so special. People want to know this is not an actual Mallomar, it's you made it, okay? My son is like, yeah. Woo! Okay. So yeah, you're just going to continue to do this. You could also do peppermint marshmallows and make peppermint Mallomars for the season. I recommend if you do that, using like about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of peppermint extract in your marshmallow, and then probably adding it to your chocolate as well, just to carry that flavor through. Jack, hi. In a second. Sorry, my child wants to do this, but I really don't want him on YouTube. Sorry, no offense. Okay. Yeah, some of them look a little funny. You could try to make like a Mallomar snowman if you wanted to. You could have fun with it. Have your kids get involved. Because you know, Mallomars have a season, which is very odd. So if they're out of season, you could just make them. Right, Jack?
I want to do everything.
I'll let you do it after. Hold on. Alright, so you're just going to keep piping, piping, piping. Piping, piping, piping. Okay. We're almost there.
Yeah. We're almost there.
And I'm just, yep, going in the center. Doing a good blob and then pulling up. And I'm getting covered in marshmallow as well, which is great. Oh my god. Okay. Perfect. Almost the exact amount I needed. Okay. Alright. That looks great. These look great, okay? Okay, I'm just going to spread this to the side of the dish. And dust it with some confectioner's sugar. And you want to set this out at room temperature so that it sets, and you don't want to cover it or anything. It can sit out like this as long as you cover it in some confectioner's sugar. You want to let it set for like a overnight or about 8 hours. Okay, so that's our marshmallow that we have on the side. For your Mallomars, you're just going to leave them like this for about an hour. You don't want to do the chocolate right away because the moisture on top of the marshmallow might affect your chocolate and make it like bloom or whatever, fancy term. But you don't need to sprinkle it with sugar or anything. You just leave it out for about an hour until you notice that it's starting to really set. Alright, so I'll be right back to show you how to temper the chocolate. Bye. Okay, we are ready to temper our chocolate. The chocolate I like to use for the Mallomars is a dark, extra dark chocolate. It's 77% cacao content. Cacao content. And that's the easiest type of chocolate to temper. So I recommend doing that one if you've never tempered chocolate before. And also it tastes really well with the Mallomars. I tried it with milk chocolate and I definitely like the dark chocolate flavor better. So how I'm going to temper this is by chopping up 3/4 of what I'm going to use. So I'm using about 1 pound of chocolate. So I'm going to I have almost all the bars chopped up in there. And then I'm going to just chop up the last bar and leave it to add in to cool down my chocolate to the right temperature. So that's basically what tempering is. You're bringing the chocolate up to a certain temperature and then quickly bringing it down to a different temperature, and then it will kind of set really quickly when you pour it on something. So again, this is something where you want to be prepared with all your elements all lined up. My Mallomars are ready to go. My chocolate is all set up. I have an ice bath here. Well, not an ice bath, but like a bowl of ice water for to dip the bottom of the chocolate in once it's melted or reached 120 degrees Fahrenheit, just to quickly start bringing it down. If you try to do it without the ice water, it might take a really long time to cool down. The addition of the extra chocolate might not be enough and it won't be right. Okay, so I have a pot of lightly simmering water here over medium heat, and I'm going to put most of my chocolate over that right now. Okay guys, so I have my chocolate over, it's already starting to melt, and it's a little bit tricky to do the temperature and stirring the chocolate all together. So I'm just gonna wait until it's mostly melted, and then I'm going to test it. It gets to 120 pretty quickly, so you really need to be careful and watch it. All right, hopefully this works this time, guys. When it does work, it's great. When it doesn't work, your Mallomars are still gonna taste great and look great, but this will just give them a nice shine and like a crisp little shell around them. Okay, so I'm quickly stirring so we don't have any like hot specks of chocolate, and I'm going to take the temperature now. Again, we want to be at 120. Hello? Hello? Okay. Hello? Wow, it's not working. Hello? There it goes. Okay, sorry. All right, okay. Whew. That was a close one, guys. All right, we're at 90. Oh, we're at, yeah, 90, 107. Okay, so I'm gonna keep stirring and stirring. The key is to just keep it moving. And you just wanna use, I have like a heat-proof spatula that I'm using to stir, which is very helpful. You don't wanna use one that's not heat-proof, or you will have melted spatula in your chocolate. Okay, we're there. Take it off the heat. Okay, tuck. I got it? Okay. And I'll meet you back over there. Okay, so I added some of my other chocolate in. I'm gonna add the rest and just keep stirring quickly. Sorry, I'm making like a mess on my hands. Oh my God, guys. I wanna get this right for you. Okay. Okay, we're still up high. So I'm going to let it fully melt, and then I'm gonna stick it in the ice bath for like a second, quick sec. See if it'll start to come down here. Okay. Want to really stir here because it will start to like kind of harden at the bottom. So you want to really just like dip it in for a second. And yeah, that brought it down a good amount. I'm gonna do it again. Dip it in for a sec. Stir, stir, stir. And let's see where we're at. We want it to 82. Okay, we're at 95. We're almost there. A few more dips in the ice bath, and it should be good. This is why you don't want to rely on that, I think this is called the seeding method of tempering chocolate. You don't want to rely really only on the addition of the extra chocolate to cool it down. Otherwise you'll be like stirring for a really long time and it's not going to work. Okay, 92. Let's see. I'm not a trained chocolatier or anything, so if that's what they're called, chocolatiers. I don't know. So there might be an easier way, but this is what works for me. Okay, I'm at 89, and I'm just gonna give it a few really good stirs. And then once you're at 82, you wanna like immediately just start dipping the Mallomars. 83, 84, Okay, so let's see, let's stir it a little more and then we should be good to go. Again, you want it 82, so you're bringing it from 120 down to 82, and this is for dark chocolate. You want something like above 170, above 70 cacao content for it to be good. We're at like 83, okay? But that's good, getting there fast, okay. Just scraping down the sides, making sure I'm getting all the chocolate. And let's see. Okay, we're good to go. 82. Okay, you want to work fast. Swap everything around. And this is where the fun begins. Okay, so I like to just go right for it. Dip it in. And if you don't want to get your hands all dirty like I'm doing, you can totally use a spatula, but you know what? I'm gonna just do it with my hands. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, then I apologize profusely, but my family's eating this, I'm eating this mostly, so it's fine. But you could totally use a spatula. I wanted to for the video, but I don't see it, and I don't want this to lose its temper. Literally. So I'm just dipping it and scraping it with my finger, setting it on the tray that I have lined with tin foil underneath. And yeah, you just keep going. There is, you can like set up a little area so that your chocolate will hold its temper at around 82 degrees, but I have not ventured into that area yet. So I don't know what you're supposed to do. I'll be honest. So I didn't want to get into that. Seems too fussy. So I'm just going to go right for it. Oh my God, guys. I'm out of breath talking. Okay. Keep going. And look, these look so cute. And if you got your temper right, which I hope we did, it looks like we did, it will start to set pretty quickly. And it will be nice and shiny. So again, I'm just taking it with my really chocolatey dirty hands, dipping it. Well, they're not dirty, they're clean, but they're covered in chocolate. Dipping it on the top and then the bottom, and then I'm just using my finger to like smooth the bottom out. I hope you're enjoying this video. I'll take this chance to tell you about about myself a little more. All right, so I have a blog, My Culinary Fix, that has all this recipe and a lot of, you know, savory dinner idea meal recipes, and along with some other cookie recipes and stuff like that. And I also have a Patreon account where I'm teaching my patrons how to improvise in the kitchen, how to do stuff without using a recipe. So if you're interested in any of that, check out myculinaryfix.com, and my Patreon account is patreon.com/myculinaryfix. And yeah, I hope you're enjoying this video, my first YouTube cooking venture. Okay. Yeah, they're already setting. They look so cute, you guys. I can't wait to show you. Alright, see, tempering chocolate is really not that crazy if you're just prepared and you move quickly. So, still doing pretty good. Hopefully it won't lose its temper by the time I get to the end, but sounds like I'm talking about mad chocolate, like it's gonna lose its temper on me. Leave a comment if you liked that joke. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm losing my mind a little bit now. But yeah, the beginning ones look so cute. They're already starting to set. I actually made these for my parents who live in New York because they love Mallomars, and I was like, I'll overnight it to you like a few days before Christmas. Yeah, no, bad idea. Didn't get there. Took days to get there. They were like, yeah, they were really good, but probably weren't that good after that long sitting in a box. But anyway, yeah, it's, you know, 'tis the season though. Should have known better. All right, clean up and show you what we have. Okay, guys, how exciting is this? Look at this. We made these Mallomars. They look amazing. Okay, so we'll show you one up close. They're not fully set yet, but just pop it off the tray. Well, all right, maybe I won't pop it off just yet. Maybe this one. There we go. Okay, this little guy came off. Look at that. Nice and shiny. It's already set. And so you're just gonna let these set for like a few more minutes, probably like 10-15 minutes total before they're ready to dig in and eat, and they're amazing. As for the rest of your marshmallows, after these have set for overnight, you want to take a greased knife and cut them into little squares, and then you're just going to toss them around in a mix of cornstarch and confectioner's sugar. Again, you can find this recipe for Mallomars on myculinaryfix.com, and I hope you guys liked this video. Let me just cut into one of these so you can see what the inside looks before we go. Okay. Okay, so these aren't fully set yet, but so they're a little sticky, but like, look at that. That looks awesome. Okay, and I'm not going to eat it right now in front of you because it'll get chocolate all over my teeth, but they look great. So thanks for joining me again, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Bye.